Hello, guys, and welcome back to the quiet halls of forbidden lore for sleep. Tonight, we set aside the world of the living. We leave behind the warmth of the sun, the colors of the earth, and the feeling of breath in your lungs. Our story tonight begins where all other stories end. It begins with your final moment. The ancient Greeks did not imagine a simple heaven or hell. Their afterlife was a kingdom, a vast, gray, and lonely kingdom of dust and echoes, ruled by a silent god. It was a place of quiet, eternal twilight. But beneath this kingdom of shadows, deeper than the deepest root of any mountain, there was another place, a pit, a prison, a divine dungeon. It was not a place of quiet nothingness. It was a place of active, eternal, and inventive punishment, reserved for the greatest sinners, the most defiant mortals, and the ancient gods who lost their wars. Tonight, we will take the full journey of a newly departed soul. We will cross the river of pain, past the three-headed guardian at the gates, and descend even further, down into the crushing abyss of Tartarus. We will learn why a single day in that place is a torment beyond all human comprehension.
So, before you get too comfortable, take a quiet moment to like this story and subscribe to the channel, but only, of course, if you genuinely enjoy what we do here. And if you wish, let me know in the comments where you're listening from tonight and what time it is for you. It is always a quiet wonder to see who is joining our journey from all around the world. Now, let us proceed. The journey ahead is long and dark, so there is no need to hold on to the waking world any longer. Let your body feel its own weight, heavy, still, and at peace. Let each muscle release its hold from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head. Take a slow, deep breath, feeling the cool air enter, and as you exhale, let go of the day with a long, quiet sigh. Close your eyes. Allow the darkness of your room to merge with the darkness of our story. There is nothing to fear. My voice will be your guide, your ferryman through this somber landscape. Our story begins, as it must, with an ending. Your ending. Let us begin.
The final breath is not a struggle. It is not a gasp for air, nor a cry of pain. It is a release. A quiet, gentle sigh, as if a thread that has been pulled taut your entire life has finally, mercifully, been snipped. The world you knew, with its brilliant colors, its complex sounds, its solid textures, begins to fade. It does not vanish in a flash. It dissolves, slowly, like a beautiful painting left out in a steady, quiet rain. The sharp edges soften. The vibrant hues bleed into a universal, gentle gray. The feeling of warmth, of the sun on your skin, of the blood in your veins recedes, replaced by a profound and not unpleasant coolness. You are untethering,
a ship slipping its final mooring rope and drifting out into a vast, silent ocean. You are no longer in a body. You feel a sensation of impossible lightness. The aches of your bones, the weight of your muscles, the constant, quiet demands of a physical form, they are all gone. You are a thought, an echo, a wisp of memory. You have no eyes, yet you can perceive. You have no ears, yet you are aware. You look back, and you see the vessel you once called your body. It lies still and peaceful. It seems small now, and strangely foreign, like a piece of clothing you have outgrown. There is no sadness, no regret, only a quiet, detached curiosity. That was a home you once occupied, and now you are simply elsewhere. You are not alone in this new state of being. Slowly you become aware of others. Like you, they are shimmering, translucent forms, faint outlines of the people they once were. They rise from their own quiet endings all around you, a silent gathering mist of souls. There are old men with the faint outline of a long beard, young women, small children who seem like flickers of faint light. There are thousands, tens of thousands, a silent, fluttering multitude, all drawn together by the same invisible current. You do not speak to them. You cannot. There are no words here. There is only a shared, silent understanding. The journey is over, and a new one is beginning. Then, a new presence makes itself known. It does not arrive with a sound or a flash of light. It simply coalesces from the gray mist. A figure, tall, slender, and radiating a sense of calm, ancient purpose. He carries a staff, the caduceus, with two serpents entwined around it, perfectly, unnaturally still. On his feet, you perceive sandals with small, silent wings at the ankles, which do not flap, but seem to hold him just above the ground of this ethereal place. It is Hermes, but not the swift, winking messenger of the gods you heard of in stories. This is Hermes Psychopompos, the guide of souls. His face is neither kind nor cruel. It is serene, professional, like that of a shepherd who has guided his flock along the same path for countless eons. He does not speak. He does not need to. His purpose is as old as death itself. He simply turns and begins to move, and you, along with the vast, silent river of souls, begin to follow. You do not walk, you drift, a slow, weightless procession through a landscape of nothing. There are no landmarks here, no trees, no mountains, no sun, no moon, only a perpetual gray twilight, a world between worlds, a great empty hall through which the recently departed must pass. The journey is long and monotonous. The only sight is the endless shimmering river of souls ahead of you, and behind you, a silent, ghostly migration. The only feeling is the constant, gentle pull, an unseen tide drawing you towards an unknown destination. There is no sense of time here. Minutes, hours, days, they are concepts that belong to the world of the living, a world you have already forgotten. There is only the journey, the slow, silent, inexorable drift forward. You see shades of every kind, warriors still bearing the faint outline of their bronze armor, their spectral forms still carrying the memory of their final battle. Old women bent with the phantom weight of a long life. Kings and peasants, their forms now indistinguishable in the gray light, all equal in this new silent kingdom. All of them are quiet. All of them are moving in the same direction. After an eternity of this silent drifting, you perceive a change in the nothingness ahead. A new sound begins to reach you. It is a low, mournful sound, like the slow, deep sigh of a sleeping giant. And a new sight appears on the horizon of this featureless land. A dark line, a line of blackness that cuts across the gray landscape. As you draw closer, you see that it is a river. A great black river, wider than any you have ever known. Its surface does not sparkle or reflect the gray twilight. It absorbs it. The water is as smooth and dark as polished obsidian, and it does not seem to flow. It waits. A thick gray mist rises from its surface, coiling like smoke. This is the boundary, the final frontier. This is the river Styx, the river of unbreakable oaths, the river of hatred, the great barrier between the world of the dead and the world of the living. The great procession of souls comes to a halt at its bank. The shore is not made of sand or soil, but of a fine gray dust, the dust of ages. And here, on the bank, a crowd has formed, a crowd of souls so vast it defies comprehension. Countless spirits, stretching as far as you can perceive in either direction, all standing in absolute silence. Their forms shimmer and flicker, their faces empty, all of them staring across the black water with a desperate, patient longing. They are the ones who wait. You drift to a stop, your formless feet settling on the ashen shore, and you join the silent, waiting crowd. The first part of your journey is over. Now, you must find a way to cross. You stand on the ashen shore, a single silent drop in an endless ocean of souls. The crowd is vast, a shimmering gray multitude stretching as far as you can perceive in either direction, all pressed against the bank of the great black river. There is no pushing, no shoving, no sound. There is only a collective, silent, and desperate waiting. You observe the other shades around you. Some seem utterly lost, their forms flickering with confusion, as if still trying to understand how they arrived in this colorless place. Others seem to writhe with a silent, impotent rage, the memory of a violent end still clinging to their essence. Most, however, are like you, resigned, empty, their forms gently swaying in an unfelt wind, their focus entirely on the dark water before them. Time has no meaning here, yet you feel you have been waiting for an eternity. The same gray twilight hangs perpetually in the sky. The same black river lies motionless before you. The same silent crowd waits without hope. It is a kingdom of stasis, of endless anticipation for a journey that may never come. Then, a change. A ripple of awareness, not of sound, moves through the crowd of spirits. Far down the river, a single point of light appears. It is not a warm light, but a cold, pale lantern, bobbing slowly in the oppressive gloom. As it draws closer, you see the shape it is attached to. A small, flat-bottomed boat, a simple skiff, black with age and grime. It moves without a sail, without a current, propelled by a single shadowy figure standing at its stern. It is the ferryman. It is Sharon.
As his skiff glides silently towards your section of the bank, you see him more clearly. He is a figure of immense, horrifying age. He is tall and gaunt, his skin like taut, dry parchment stretched thin over a frame of sharp, jutting bones. His beard is a long, tangled white mess, like river weeds caked with centuries of grime. He is cloaked in dark, heavy rags, hooded and filthy. But it is his eyes that hold the true terror. They are not empty sockets. They burn with a cold silver light, the light of dead stars, reflecting a weariness as old as death itself. He has seen millions upon millions of souls like you, and he is unimpressed. His boat scrapes against the ashen shore with a soft, grating sound. He does not speak. He simply lowers his long, gnarled wooden pole and waits. Now, a new kind of tension fills the silent crowd. A desperate, pleading energy. Some of the shades begin to press forward, their misty hands outstretched, their silent mouths open in a plea that cannot be heard. These are the unburied, the unmourned, the ones whose bodies lie rotting on a forgotten battlefield or at the bottom of the sea. They have no coin to pay the ferryman.
Charon's reaction is one of pure, dispassionate routine. With a weary sigh, he uses his long pole to shove them back from his boat. He does not strike them with anger, but with an ancient, practiced annoyance. They are an inconvenience to his eternal task. The unburied souls recoil, their forms flickering with the silent, profound anguish. They are the most tragic figures here, condemned to wander this gray shore for 100 years, watching others cross while they are left behind, trapped between two worlds. Charon then turns his burning, silver eyes upon the rest of the crowd, and you feel his gaze pass over you. He is waiting for his payment. And you feel it, a strange presence in what was once your mouth, a small, cold, hard disc, the obol, the single, simple coin placed on your tongue by a loving hand before your burial, a final act of care, a final tradition of the living, which now holds the entire value of your eternity. It is the most important coin you will ever possess.
You and the other souls who were properly buried begin to move forward. As you approach the skiff, you offer this phantom coin. You do not hand it to him. He does not take it.
He simply acknowledges it. He sees that the rite has been observed, that his fee is present. He nods once, a curt, small movement of his ancient head, and gestures with his pole for you to board. You step into the skiff. The wood is slick and cold beneath your formless feet. You join a handful of other shades, all silent, all still, careful not to disturb the grim ferryman. When the boat is full, Charon pushes off from the shore with his pole. The journey across the river Styx begins.
The silence on the water is deeper than any silence you have known before. The only sound is the rhythmic soft dip and pull of Charon's great pole pushing against the unseen riverbed. The water of the Styx does not ripple. It does not splash. It parts before the skiff like thick, black, unrefined oil, and closes just as slowly behind, leaving no wake. You look down into its depths, but you see nothing. There is no reflection, not of the gray sky, not of your own shimmering form. It is a river of absolute oblivion, a liquid nothingness. The journey is slow. You look back at the shore you just left, at the countless waiting souls, and they slowly shrink until they are just a faint shimmering line in the distance. Then you look forward. The far bank is shrouded in the same thick gray mist. You are suspended between two shores, between two states of being, in a timeless, silent passage.
The air grows colder, the mist thickens. The journey feels as if it takes another lifetime. Finally, with a soft, grating sound, the bottom of the skiff scrapes against the ashen soil of the far bank. You have arrived. This is the shore of Hades, the kingdom of the dead. You step out of the boat, your formless feet touching the ground of the underworld proper. It is colder here. The air is utterly still. You do not look back. Charon is already turning his skiff, preparing to return for his next fare. A timeless, tireless ferryman, forever plying his trade on the black river that separates life from death. You are now truly in his domain. You step from Charon's grimy skiff onto the soil of the underworld proper. The ground here is different from the ashen shore of the Styx. It is cold, hard-packed earth, a floor of gray dust and crushed stone that seems to stretch endlessly into the misty gloom ahead. The air is utterly still and colder than before, a profound, breathless cold that seems to seep into your very essence. You have left the antechamber of death. You are now inside the palace itself. You and the other shades who crossed with you begin to move forward, drawn by the same silent, unseen current as before. You are once again part of a great, silent procession, drifting through a landscape of twilight and shadow. This is the no-man's land of Hades, a barren, featureless plain where nothing grows and nothing changes. There are no landmarks, no points of reference, only the endless gray plain and the silent, shimmering river of souls moving across it. You drift for what feels like another age.
The journey is designed to strip you of your final attachments to the world of the living, to impress upon you the sheer scale and unchanging nature of your new reality. This is a kingdom of permanence, of eternity, and you are its newest, most insignificant subject. Then you begin to see a shape forming in the distance, slowly coalescing from the gray mist. At first, it is just a dark vertical line, but as you draw closer, its immense scale becomes apparent. It is a wall, a great barrier of black polished stone that rises up into the gloom, so high that you cannot see its top. And in the center of this wall is a set of gates. They are the great gates of Hades. They are not made of bronze or iron, materials of the mortal world. They are forged from a strange black, unearthly metal that seems to absorb the gray light around it, giving nothing back. This is adamantine, the material of the gods, unbreakable and eternal. The gates are impossibly tall, dwarfing any city gate you have ever known. Carved into their vast surfaces are not scenes of glory or triumph, but scenes of consequence. You see faint outlines of great kings brought low, of proud heroes chained, of defiant titans struck down by lightning. The gates are not just a barrier, they are a statement of divine law, a monument to the absolute and final authority of this realm. And before these gates lies the guardian. He is not chained. He does not need to be. He lies on the stone plaza before the great gates like a small mountain carved from night and shadow. At first, you think it is a great dark statue, but then a tail, not of fur, but of a living, hissing serpent, twitches lazily. A massive chest rises and falls with a slow, deep breath that sounds like distant thunder. It is the beast, Cerberus, the hound of Hades. He is a creature of impossible size, his paws larger than your entire body, his powerful muscles coiled beneath a coat of thick, black fur. He is not just a dog, he is a monstrosity. A mane of living, writhing snakes shifts and hisses around his 3 great necks. And he has 3 heads. They move with a drowsy independence. One head is resting on its massive paws, its eyes closed, a low rumbling snore echoing in the vast space. Another head is alert, its glowing amber eyes tracking the silent approach of your procession of shades, its ears twitching at sounds you cannot perceive. The third head seems almost bored, lazily chewing on a large spectral bone that flickers in and out of existence. A sound begins, not in your ears, but as a vibration in the ground and in your chest. It is a low, deep, continuous rumble, the growl of a predator, so powerful, so utterly confident in its dominance that it has no need to ever raise its voice. It is the sound of absolute authority, the promise of swift and total annihilation for any who would dare defy the laws of this place. This growl is the true lock on the gates of Hades. As your group of shades drifts closer, a strange thing happens.
The alert head lifts, its gaze fixing on you. The low growl softens slightly, and its serpent tail gives a slow, heavy thump, thump against the stone floor. He seems almost pleased to see you arrive. He is a good guardian, and he knows his duty. All are welcome to enter the land of the dead. His purpose is not to keep souls out. But as you look at him, a fleeting, terrifying vision flashes in your mind. You see the same creature, but not welcoming. You see it roused to a state of savage fury, its 3 mouths open, lined with teeth like daggers, tearing apart a foolish shade who had tried to escape. And you understand. This creature's welcome is a one-way door. It is a gentle host to new arrivals and an inescapable, savage executioner to any who would try to leave.
You pass by the great beast, the heat from its massive body washing over you, a dry animal heat that smells of brimstone and ancient power. You do not look at it directly, but you can feel its 6 eyes following your every move, a silent, all-seeing gaze that judges your worthiness to enter. The great adamantine gates swing inward without a sound, opening into a deeper, more profound darkness beyond. You step across the threshold into the true kingdom of the dead. The gates swing shut behind you, the sound not a boom, but a soft, final click of absolute and eternal finality. You are now inside, and there is no way out. You step through the great silent gates, and they swing shut behind you with a soft, final click that seals your fate. The presence of the great hound, Cerberus, fades behind you, and you find yourself in a new landscape, a new state of being. The air here is different. The cold, hard stone of the entrance gives way to something else. There is no wind, no breeze. The air is utterly still, neutral, holding no warmth and no true chill. It is the temperature of absolute indifference. Before you stretches a vast, unending plain, shrouded in a perpetual, colorless twilight. There is no sun, no moon, no stars in the gray sky above. It is a permanent state of dusk, a world without shadows, because there is no source of light to cast them. The ground is not made of soil or grass, but of a fine, gray, ashen dust that rises in soft, silent puffs around your formless feet as you drift forward. And everywhere, as far as you can perceive, the plain is covered in flowers. They are not the vibrant, living flowers of the mortal world. They are asphodels, millions upon millions of them. Their stems are long and ghostly pale, their petals the color of gray mist, thin and translucent. They grow in dense, silent fields, a carpet of pale, spectral blossoms covering the entire landscape. They have no scent. They offer no color, no beauty. They are the flowers of the dead, and this is their kingdom. This is the Asphodel Meadows,
the final resting place for the vast majority of mortal souls, the ordinary, the unremarkable, the ones who were neither truly virtuous nor truly wicked. This is the afterlife of neutrality.
Drifting across the endless plain is a crowd so vast it defies comprehension. A great, shimmering, fluttering multitude of souls. They are like you, translucent, weightless echoes of their former selves. They wander aimlessly, with no purpose, no destination. They drift through the silent fields of asphodel, their movements slow and listless, like autumn leaves carried on a current you cannot feel. And they are not silent. A sound emanates from the great crowd, a constant, low chorus of sound that fills the dead air. It is not the sound of speech or weeping or laughter. It is a soft, dry, twittering sound, a high-pitched, meaningless chirping, like a vast flock of bats in a cavern, or the rustle of a million dry leaves. It is the sound of consciousness stripped of identity, of memory, of purpose. It is the sound of pure, simple, eternal existence, and nothing more.
You drift among them, another nameless shade in the countless masses. You see the faint outlines of those they once were. A great warrior, his form still vaguely showing the shape of a helmet, now drifts past a humble farmer. A queen, her spectral form still carrying the memory of a crown, floats aimlessly beside a forgotten slave. Here all are equal. All are equally empty. They have no memory of the lives they lived with such passion. They do not remember their loves, their hatreds, their triumphs, their failures. All of it has been washed away, leaving only these hollow, twittering shells. Sometimes, two shades who may have been husband and wife or mortal enemies will drift past each other. They might pause, a flicker of vague recognition in their empty forms, a feeling of a connection long lost. But there is no emotion. They simply observe each other for a moment, two familiar shapes in the gray expanse, and then they drift apart, their brief, forgotten history dissolving back into the eternal twilight.
You see the face of someone you knew, perhaps a friend from your childhood or a neighbor from your village. They float towards you, their eyes, or the memory of where their eyes once were, looking straight through you without recognition. They chirp their soft, meaningless note and drift on, leaving you with a feeling of loneliness so profound it feels like a physical ache. Time ceases to exist. There is no day. There is no night. There is only the same gray twilight forever. There is no hunger, no thirst. The shades have no needs, no desires. There is only the endless, pointless drifting through the silent, pale flowers. The monotony is absolute, a form of peace that borders on a terrifying kind of horror. It is an eternity of boredom, an ocean of nothingness. As you drift, you become aware of the great rivers of the underworld that border this realm. You see the shades gathering at the banks of the Acheron, the river of sorrow,
and though they have no tears, you can sense the waves of sadness that emanate from its dark waters. You see them recoil from the Phlegethon, a river of pure fire that flows through the gray landscape, its flames casting a flickering, dancing light, but providing no warmth. It is a river of pain, and the shades instinctively know to keep their distance.
And then you see the river Lethe, the river of forgetfulness. Its waters are milky white and move with a slow, inviting calm. You see shades, tired of their faint, lingering echoes of memory, drift towards its bank. They cup their misty hands and drink from the white water. As they do, you see their forms become even more translucent, more ephemeral. The last vestiges of their mortal identity, the final, faint whispers of who they once were, are washed away forever. They turn from the river, their chirping softer, their forms more hollow, and they rejoin the aimless, drifting crowd, now truly and completely lost. A part of you, exhausted and empty, feels the pull of the Lethe, the desire to forget, the desire to let go of the pain, the fear, the memory of the sun, the desire to simply stop, to become one with the gray, peaceful, horrifying nothingness. You drift towards its milky bank. The peaceful, quiet promise of oblivion is almost seductive.
But as you reach the shore, you feel a gentle but firm pull from behind. Your journey is not over. Your fate is not to be an aimless whisper in these fields. You have been judged, or are yet to be judged, for a life that was not ordinary. You are led away from the river of forgetfulness, away from the twittering masses. You look back one last time at the vast gray eternal plains of asphodel. You see the countless souls drifting forever in the twilight, and you do not know if you are the lucky one or the cursed one. You have escaped an eternity of boredom, yes, but you are now being guided towards something else entirely, towards a place of consequence, towards the very heart of the underworld.
You are pulled away from the milky, tempting waters of the river Lethe, guided by an unseen force, an ancient protocol of the underworld. You leave the vast, twittering fields of the asphodel meadows behind, your form drifting away from the aimless, eternal crowd. The landscape begins to change once more. The endless plain of asphodel flowers gives way to a great, open plaza paved with cracked gray stone. You have arrived at the place where all paths diverge. Before you, you can perceive 3 great roads leading away from the plaza. To your right, a path that seems to shimmer with a faint golden light, leading to the distant, peaceful fields of Elysium, the reward for the virtuous. Straight ahead, the wide, dusty road leads back into the eternal, monotonous twilight of the asphodel meadows, the destination for the ordinary. And to your left, there is a third path. It is a road of black, jagged stone that slopes steeply, impossibly downward, into a darkness that seems even deeper and more profound than the rest of this realm. A faint, hot wind seems to rise from it, carrying with it a sound so distant it is almost a feeling, a low, continuous moan of agony. That is the path to Tartarus. But before any path can be taken, judgment must be rendered. In the center of the great, empty plaza stand 3 imposing thrones made of dark, unadorned stone.
and upon them sit the three great judges of the dead. They are not gods in the Olympian sense. They are older, more primal, embodiments of an inflexible and eternal law. You are brought before them. On one side sits Aeacus, the former king of Aegina, known in life for his unwavering piety and justice. In death, he is the guardian of the keys to the underworld, his face a mask of stern duty. On the other side sits his brother, Rhadamanthus, the lord of Elysium, who judges the souls of the East. His expression is severe, his gaze piercing, seeming to strip away every lie and every self-deception you ever held. And in the center, on the largest throne, sits Minos, the former king of Crete, the very man whose tribute once sent you to the labyrinth. But here he is not a vengeful king. He is the supreme arbiter of the dead. His face is weary, filled with the sorrow of judging countless souls for countless eons. But his eyes hold an unshakable resolve. He holds a great golden scepter, the symbol of his final authority. His vote is the one that seals every fate.
There is no trial here. There are no lawyers, no witnesses, no accusations. You do not speak, you cannot. Your life is not a story to be told, but an essence to be perceived. You simply stand, a translucent shade before the three judges, and they look upon you. And as they gaze upon you, your entire mortal life unfolds before them and before you, not as a memory, but as a series of vivid, emotional flashes. It is a silent, instantaneous weighing of the soul. You feel the simple, uncomplicated warmth of a childhood joy. You feel the sharp, cold sting of your first betrayal. You feel the hot, reckless fire of anger and the quiet, gentle peace of forgiveness. You re-experience every act of kindness you ever performed, a feeling of light and warmth. And you re-experience every act of selfishness, every hidden shame, every cruel word spoken in haste, each one a cold, heavy weight. Your entire existence, from your first breath to your last, is laid bare in this silent, eternal court. There are no secrets in the land of the dead.
The judges do not confer. They do not debate. They simply know. Their ancient eyes see the balance of your life, the weight of your deeds versus the darkness of your failings. The judgment is rendered in silence. Minos, the great arbiter, slowly raises his golden scepter. He does not look at you. He looks into the distance, his face a mask of grim duty. And with a slow, deliberate movement, he points. He points down. Down the steep, black, jagged road, the road to Tartarus. There is no feeling of shock, no surprise. In this place of absolute truth, you cannot even lie to yourself. You knew where you belonged, but the finality of the gesture is a crushing weight, an eternal sentence delivered without a single word. You turn and begin your descent. The path slopes downward immediately. and the journey is a jarring contrast to the gentle, drifting progression through the rest of Hades. The gray, neutral air of the underworld begins to change. At first, it grows colder, a deep subterranean cold that speaks of immense, sunless depths. The light of the gray twilight fades completely behind you, and you are once again in a profound darkness. But this is a different darkness. It is a heavy, oppressive darkness, filled with a sense of immense pressure, as if you are descending to the bottom of the deepest ocean. The silence, too, is different. The fluttering whispers of the shades are long gone. At first, there is nothing, but then you begin to hear it, the sound you sensed from a distance. It is the sound of moaning, a vast, collective, unending chorus of pain, so far away that it sounds like a strange, sorrowful wind. As you descend further, the temperature shifts again. The deep cold gives way to a strange, dry, suffocating heat that radiates up from the abyss below. The black stone of the path begins to feel warm beneath your formless feet. The distant moaning grows louder, more distinct. You can now make out individual screams, cries of agony that have been echoing in this place for millennia.
You finally reach the bottom of the long, sloping path. You stand before the true entrance to the pit. It is a fortress. The walls are immense, a sheer, impossibly high rampart of solid bronze that glows with a faint, dull red from the heat radiating within. Surrounding this fortress is a river, but its waters are not the black oil of the Styx. Its waters are pure, liquid fire. This is the Phlegethon, the river of flame, and it acts as a fiery moat around the prison of the damned. And at the great iron gate of the fortress, a figure stands guard. It is not a beast like Cerberus. It is a woman, cloaked in a dark robe stained with blood, her face a mask of eternal fury, a whip of living serpents held in her hand. It is one of the Furies, the goddesses of vengeance. It is Tisiphone, the avenger of murder. Her eyes lock onto you, and you feel a terror that makes your encounter with the Hydra seem like a distant memory.
The great iron gate groans open, revealing a passage that glows with a deep red light. You are not judged again. You are not questioned. You have been sentenced, and this is your destination. You are pushed forward by an unseen force, across the threshold, past the watchful gaze of the Fury. The gate slams shut behind you with a deafening clang of finality. The heat is immense. The screams are all around you now. You have left the kingdom of Hades. You have entered the pit. You are in Tartarus. The great iron gate of Tartarus slams shut behind you, and the sound is absolute. It is not an echo, but a dead, final clang that consumes all other sound for a moment, and then is gone. The oppressive heat you felt outside is now a physical presence, a dry, suffocating blanket that robs the air of all moisture. You stand in a vast subterranean cavern, larger than any space you could have conceived in the mortal world. The ceiling is so high that it is lost in a swirling, smoky darkness, but you can see faint, pulsing veins of what looks like molten rock far above, casting a dim, hellish red-orange glow over everything. This is the only light. The ground is a cracked black
sharp and uneven under your formless feet. The air is thick with the smell of sulfur, of ozone, and of something else, the ancient metallic scent of despair itself. The distant collective moan of tormented souls is a constant river of sound, the horrifying ambient music of this kingdom. As you drift through this terrible landscape, you begin to see them. Not a crowd like in the asphodel meadows, but isolated figures, each trapped in their own personal, eternal hell. The first you witness is a king from a bygone era, Sisyphus.
You see a steep, barren hill of black rock rising from the cavern floor, and on its slope you see a man. His form is nothing but corded muscle and straining sinew, his back bent at an impossible angle. He is engaged in a single, all-consuming task. He is pushing a boulder. It is a boulder of immense size, larger than he is, perfectly round and smooth. It seems to have a malicious weight, a life of its own. With every ounce of his being, Sisyphus pushes the great stone up the steep incline. His movements are slow, agonizing. You can perceive the strain in his spectral form, the muscles in his back and legs screaming with effort. The only sound is the harsh, grating scrape of the great rock against the black path, and the man's own ragged, grunting breaths. He does not look up. He does not look around. His entire existence is focused on the few inches of progress he makes with every step. He pushes and pushes, the boulder moving slowly, reluctantly upward. For what seems like an eternity, this is all that happens, the slow, arduous ascent.
He nears the summit. You can feel a strange, phantom sense of hope radiating from him. The peak is just a few feet away. He gives one final mighty shove, his entire body trembling with the effort. The boulder reaches the very top of the hill. It teeters there for a single heart-stopping moment, perfectly balanced between achievement and failure. And then, as it always does, as it always will, it slips. With a slow, gathering momentum, the great boulder begins to roll backwards. It rolls past the exhausted Sisyphus, who does not even try to stop it. It picks up speed, crashing and booming down the steep slope until it comes to rest with a deep, final thud at the very bottom, in the exact spot where he began.
You watch Sisyphus. He does not scream. He does not weep. He does not rage at the gods. He simply stands at the summit for a moment, his chest heaving. Then he turns, his face a mask of profound, weary emptiness, and he begins the long, slow walk back down the hill. His shoulders are slumped, his steps are heavy. He is not just defeated, he is reset. He walks past the great boulder at the bottom, places his hands upon its rough surface, and with a deep, shuddering sigh that holds the weight of millennia, he begins to push again. You watch him repeat this cycle. The agonizing ascent, the moment of false hope at the peak, the inevitable failure, the weary, silent descent, over and over and over. His punishment is not the labor itself, it is the hope, the tiny glimmer of hope that builds with every upward step, a hope that is designed to be brutally, perfectly extinguished every single time for all eternity. You drift away from the hill of Sisyphus, the site of his eternal, futile labor burned into your consciousness. You move through the smoldering gloom of Tartarus until you come to another scene, another personal hell. You find yourself at the edge of a dark, still pool of water. The water is surprisingly clear, and in the dim red light of this place, it looks cool and inviting. Standing in the pool, with the water up to his chin, is another ancient king, Tantalus. He is a gaunt, skeletal figure, his form flickering with a desperate, unquenchable thirst. His ghostly throat is parched, his lips cracked, his eyes fixed with an agonizing longing on the very water that surrounds him. He is dying of thirst, yet he is standing in a lake. You watch as he slowly, with movements made heavy by an eternity of disappointment, decides to try again. He bends his creaking, ancient knees, lowering his head toward the clear, cool surface of the water. His lips part. He is just an inch away from the life-giving liquid, from the single drop that would soothe his eternal torment. And just as his lips are about to touch the surface, the water recedes. It does not splash or drain away, it simply sinks, pulling away from him, down into the black mud at the bottom of the pool, leaving him gasping at nothing but foul-smelling air. He is left on his knees in the mud, his face a mask of silent, pleading agony. Then, just as slowly as it left, the water begins to rise again, creeping back up his legs, his torso, his chest, until it once again rests just at his chin, clear, cool, and forever unattainable. But his torment is twofold. Directly above his head hangs the branch of a fruit tree. The branch is heavy, laden with the most beautiful fruit you can imagine, ripe purple figs bursting with sweetness, plump red pomegranates glistening with juice, golden pears that seem to glow in the dim light. The scent from the fruit is intoxicating, a promise of an end to the gnawing, eternal hunger that hollows out his soul. After his failed attempt to drink, Tantalus raises a trembling, skeletal hand towards the branch above him. His fingers stretch, shaking with effort and desperate hope. He can almost feel the smooth skin of a pear against his fingertips. And as his hand gets close, a sudden hot wind, appearing from nowhere in this still, breathless cavern, whips through the air. It catches the branch and lifts it just out of his grasp. He lunges for it, a silent cry of frustration caught in his dry throat, but the fruit is always just an inch away. Then the wind dies, and the branch settles back into its original position, hanging just above his head, a beautiful, fragrant, and eternal mockery. He stands there, trapped between a thirst he can never quench and a hunger he can never satisfy. His punishment is not pain, but proximity. He is surrounded by salvation. He is immersed in the very things that would end his suffering. But he is condemned to never, ever be able to partake. It is the torment of the eternally outstretched hand, the torment of hope made into a weapon, a constant, refined torture for the soul.
Leaving the quiet, desperate scene of Tantalus behind, you drift deeper into Tartarus, drawn towards a more violent, more chaotic punishment. The dry heat intensifies, and the red glow that illuminates this realm grows brighter, more immediate. You arrive in a vast open cavern where the air itself seems to shimmer with heat. Suspended in the center of this cavern, turning slowly and endlessly in the black void, is a great wheel. It is not a wheel of wood or metal. It is a wheel made of pure, living fire. It rotates on an unseen axis, a great spinning vortex of flame and torment. And bound to this wheel, his limbs spread-eagled and chained with what looks like black lightning, is the form of another king, Ixion.
His punishment is not subtle. It is not psychological. It is a raw, brutal, and eternal assault on the senses. You watch as the great fiery wheel turns slowly, inexorably. There is no up, no down, no rest. There is only the constant, nauseating, dizzying spin. One moment, Ixion's head is where his feet were. The next, he is sideways, always turning, always moving. It is a torment of perpetual motion, designed to destroy any sense of stability, any sense of self. And then there is the fire. The flames that make up the wheel are not the warm, comforting flames of a hearth. They are a white-hot, ethereal fire that constantly consumes him, yet never allows him the mercy of being destroyed. You can perceive the agony as the fire licks at his spectral form, the pain constant, unchanging, and absolute.
The sound in this cavern is a symphony of hell. It is the low, deep whoosh and roar of the great turning wheel of fire. It is the sharp crackle of the magical flames, and beneath it all is the faint, continuous, agonized scream of Ixion, a sound that has long since lost all meaning and become just another part of the terrible, ambient noise of this place. Unlike Sisyphus with his moment of hope, or Tantalus with his proximity to relief, Ixion's punishment is one of pure, unceasing sensation. There is no hope, there is no escape, there is no almost. There is only the spin and the fire and the pain stretched out into a seamless, unbroken infinity. It is the punishment of being trapped in a single, terrible moment and having that moment last forever.
As you witness these three great punishments, you begin to understand the true nature of Tartarus. It is not just a prison, it is a place of perfectly tailored, poetic justice. It is a realm where the punishment is a dark reflection of the crime, designed to break the soul in the most personal and intimate way possible. A profound, new dread fills your essence. You have only been an observer to the fates of others. Your own unique, eternal punishment is yet to be assigned. And with that thought, You feel a familiar, unseen force begin to pull you away, deeper still, into the final, darkest pit of the abyss. You're pulled away from the sight of Ixion's fiery, spinning torment, away from the personal hells of the great mortal sinners. The unseen current guides you further downward, into a darkness so complete it makes the upper levels of Tartarus seem bright by comparison. The heat lessens, replaced by an immense, crushing pressure, as if you are at the bottom of an ocean of stone. You have reached the bottom of the abyss, the pit, the true prison for which this entire realm was created. This is not a place for the souls of men. This is the dungeon of the gods. The space is impossibly vast, a cavern that could contain mountains. And in the oppressive, absolute darkness, you begin to perceive them. They are not shades, they are not flickering, translucent forms. They are immense, solid shapes of shadow and stone. The Titans, the old gods who ruled the cosmos long before the Olympians, now defeated, dethroned, and imprisoned for all eternity. They are not being punished with futile labors or endless torment. Their punishment is simply stillness, defeat, the utter negation of their once immeasurable power. You drift past the colossal form of Cronus, the former king of the Titans, who once devoured his own children. He is not raging, he is not fighting, he is simply there, a mountain of defeated majesty, bound by great, unbreakable chains of adamantine forged by the Cyclopes. The chains glow with a faint, cold light, the only illumination in this deep pit. His great head is bowed, his eyes are closed, lost in a sleep or a memory that will last for eternity. The being who once wielded the scythe of time is now a prisoner outside of it. You see others. The great Titan Iapetus, father of Prometheus and Atlas, lies chained to the black stone floor, his mighty form as still as a fallen statue. You see the faint outlines of others, dozens of them, scattered throughout the vast cavern, each one a monument to a lost war, a silent testament to the terrible power of the new gods who rule the world above. They do not moan or scream. The silence here is absolute, a silence of immense, compressed power held in eternal check. It is a silence filled with the weight of ages, with the memory of a cosmic war that shook the foundations of creation. There is a profound, terrifying awe in this place. You are a small, insignificant soul, a mote of dust, drifting past beings who once shaped galaxies. Their defeat is on a scale so grand that your own mortal sins, your own eternal punishment, whatever it may be, feels small and trivial in comparison. This is the and more of Tartarus. It is not just a place of punishment for mortals. It is the ultimate foundation of the new cosmic order. It is the final, unchangeable statement of the Olympians' victory. The power of the old world is not just defeated, it is buried, chained, and forgotten at the bottom of creation. As you drift through this silent, colossal graveyard of gods, you understand the final truth of this place. Tartarus is not just a hell. It is a lock. It is the great unbreakable bolt on the door of the past, ensuring that the old powers can never rise again.
A new kind of fear takes hold of you, a fear born not of pain, but of insignificance. You are a fleeting, mortal soul who has accidentally wandered into the dungeon of fallen gods. You do not belong here. Your presence is a cosmic error. And with that final, terrifying realization, you feel the unseen current begin to pull you again, not further down, for there is nowhere else to go, but up, away from the silent, sleeping titans, away from the pit. Your tour of this terrible place is over. It is time for your own personal eternity to begin.
You feel a gentle pull, an unseen current lifting you up, away from the silent, brooding titans in the deepest pit of the abyss. Your journey into darkness is over. The ascent begins. As you drift upward, you pass the realms of punishment once more, but now from a distant, detached perspective. You see the great, fiery wheel of Ixion below you, now just a spinning, silent pinprick of light in the vast darkness. You glide over the still, dark pool of Tantalus, a sad, timeless diorama of eternal want. You see the hill of Sisyphus, its endlessly repeating tragedy, now just a small, insignificant loop in the grand, terrible tapestry of this place. You have witnessed the nature of consequence in this ancient world. It is not just simple pain. It is a dark, intricate poetry, a punishment perfectly, eternally tailored to the sin. A king who betrayed trust is eternally betrayed by his own senses. A man who thought he could cheat death is forced to reenact his own failure forever. It is a realm of absolute and inescapable irony. But this journey, this grim pilgrimage, is now at its end. The heat of the great pit begins to fade, replaced by the cool, neutral air of Hades. The distant, sorrowful screams dissolve into silence. The oppressive weight of the abyss lifts from your essence.
And so, our long journey through the underworld comes to its close. We have walked the path of a departed soul, crossed the river of pain, and witnessed the punishments of the damned. But that world of myth and shadow is not your world. The cold stone of its plains is not beneath you. The heat of Tartarus is not your own, and the eternal labors are not your burden to bear. Let the memory of that dark place now begin to fade, like a strange dream upon waking. Let the distant echoes of sorrow be replaced by the soft, steady, and peaceful rhythm of your own quiet breathing.
Let the immense, crushing pressure of the abyss be lifted, replaced by the gentle, comforting weight of your blankets. You are no longer a shade on a grim journey. You are safe. You are here. You are at peace in the quiet stillness of your room. Your journey for tonight is done. There are no more gates to pass, no more rivers to cross. There is only this quiet moment, this stillness, this deep and gentle peace. Let the last vast echoes of the ancient world lull you into a profound and restful slumber. Rest now, sleep well, and see you in the next videos.